Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Kombumerri people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Monday, October 23. In Squiz Kids Today, earthquake rattles Melbourne. Japan skinny sumos. South Africa beat England twice. And look out for spider zombies. That's what's making news, kids style.
The lowdown.
Did you feel the earth shake under your feet over the weekend? Did your house sway just a little bit in the wee small hours of yesterday morning? Then you're one of the hundreds of thousands who live in Victoria and were woken by a magnitude 5 earthquake that struck near the Great Ocean Road. More than 7,000 residents of Melbourne, Bendigo, Geelong and even down to King Island in the Bass Strait were woken by the earthquake, which is only the 5th recorded earthquake in Victoria measuring magnitude 5. Magnitude is the measurement scale for earthquakes. A 2 or 3 is kind of small, an 8 is big and quite destructive. A 5 is getting up there. Happily, there were no reports of injuries or damage to property. And if you're keen to know more about what makes earthquakes and volcanoes tick, check out our excellent Squiz Kids shortcut on that topic, a link to which is in today's episode notes. Aussie PM Anthony Albanese was packing his suitcase yesterday preparing for a big and important trip to Washington, D.C., the capital city of the United States, where he is going to meet American President Joe Biden. America is what's called a key ally of Australia, which is a fancy way of saying that we look out for each other and each other's interests. And it's not the only trip our PM has planned. Pretty much straight after he gets back from Washington, he'll be back on a plane and heading to China to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping, the first time in 7 years that an Aussie PM has visited China.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Japan, where skinny sumos could soon be seen in the stadium. Sumo wrestling is a national sport in Japan and a really important part of Japanese heritage and culture. Traditionally, sumo wrestlers have been bigger, heavy folk, but when the recent intake of professional sumos this spring attracted a record low number of participants, the Sumo Wrestlers Association decided they needed to make the competition more accessible to all body types. Because, after all, just because you're skinny doesn't mean you shouldn't be allowed to wear a big cloth nappy type thing and hurl yourself at complete strangers for the entertainment of an entire nation. Right?
Sport time!
All things considered, it was not the best weekend to be an English sports fan. Poor old Englan was knocked out of the Rugby World Cup yesterday morning, going down in the very last minutes of their semi-final against South Africa, losing by 16 points to 15. Ouch! It was a bit more of a clear-cut loss for the English cricket team, however, again against South Africa in the World Cup in India at the weekend. England could only manage 170 runs in response to South Africa's 7 for 399 runs, meaning they lost by a record 299 runs. Yikes! It was an altogether happier day at the office for Aussie swim sensation Kaylee McEwen, however, who broke not one, but 2 world records over 2 days at the World Cup swim meet in Budapest at the weekend. The 22-year-old from Queensland beat her own 100-metre backstroke record yesterday, and on Friday she smashed the world record for the 50-metre backstroke event too. Go you good thing.
Weird science.
With Halloween just around the corner, you're probably going to start noticing lots of spider webs popping up all over the place in your neighbourhood. Now, love them or hate them, spiders are pretty interesting critters with lots of cool talents and attributes. And recently, some curious and clever scientists at Rice University in the United States discovered that even when they're dead, they could be very useful to humans. Now, have you ever seen a dead spider with its legs all curled up? Well, that's because spiders have muscles that pull their legs in towards their bodies, but they need to create pressure with the fluids inside their bodies to stretch those legs back out. So when they die, their legs naturally curl up. Scientists have created spider zombies, however, by injecting air into the bodies of dead spiders, which causes the legs to splay out. They then release the air pressure and voila, the spider becomes a robotic claw capable of picking up delicate items. There's a link to video of all of this in your episode notes, and yes, my friends, it is as creepy as it sounds.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. We're going to make the questions a little bit harder today. What swim stroke did Aussie Kaylee McEwen just break 2 world records in? Yeah, that's right. It was backstroke. Not that hard, huh? But they're going to get harder. Question number 2. What was the score in the England versus South Africa Rugby World Cup semi-final? Yep, it was indeed an agonising 16 points to 15. Question number 3. What is the capital city of the United States of America? How did you go? Did you say Washington, D.C.? Well done.
Shout-outs.
It's October 23. Today is World Snow Leopard Day. I mean, how cool are snow leopards? It's also the final match today of the Constellation Cup, where the Aussies play New Zealand in the big netball matchup. Go Diamonds! And of course, it's a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today and tomorrow. Happy birthday to Olivia from Ivanhoe, Heidi from Beecroft, Victor from Traralgon, Zoe from Tempe, Sarah from Chatswood, Skylar from Burpengary, Mahi from Forest Lake, Eden from Launceston, Nate from Canberra, Nicole from Vermont South, Sabrina from St Helens Park, Mela from Belbray, Connor from Tumbiumbi, Elena from Wahroonga, Julian from Kensington, Matteo from St Ives, Olini and Shreya from The Ponds, Annie from Abbotsford, Julia from West Hoxton, Cameron from Elwood, Elsie from Walkerville, Miller from Baronia, Quinn from Echuca, and Hayley, who's listening all the way over there in Taiwan, and Missy, who's listening all the way over there in Texas in the United States. And belated birthday shout-outs go to Kelahani from Adelaide, Talia from Melbourne, Senari from Grovedale, Hilda from Currumbin, Eliana and Bella from Warrandyte, Jackson and Jax from Helensvale, and Evie, who's listening all the way over there in Totnes in England. And classroom shout-outs today go to Class SP2 and Mrs Graham at St Pius X Primary School in Warrnambool, Class 4 Blue and Mr Murphy at St Thomas More Catholic Primary School in Roos, Class 5-6K and Miss Walker at St Michael's Primary School in Deniliquin, Years 5 and 6 with Mrs Willow at St Augustine's Parish School in Narromine, Class LA 15 and Mr Morrison at Atwell Primary School, and Class 6JR with Ms Rayner at Mount Carmel School in Yass. And a special shout out to Alex, James and Marcus from Riverview, and also to my good friends at Cannon Hill State School, whom it was great to visit again on Friday. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you're after a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow with our special Halloween-inspired shortcut on the science of skeletons. And, of course, if you like what we do, be sure to tell your friends. It's the only way we grow. Or leave us a review on your podcasting app, where you've also hopefully already subscribed. And don't forget to check out our socials too. In the meantime, though, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.